Okay, so the very first problem in ALEKS takes us through division, and I posted in the discussion to help you remember this is that if you have a number over 0, that means no, which means undefined. If you have 0 over a number that's on, which means yes, and the answer is 0. So this one is undefined, and this is 0.
Okay.
It says solve for x. Now, we know how to solve equations: simplify, isolate, and divide. But before, we just had one variable, x. Now we have 3. It doesn't matter. You always focus on what you're solving for. So simplify means remove parentheses, fractions, decimals, add like terms on the same side. Now, isolate is where you want to focus on the variable you're interested in. We're interested in solving for x. That means everything else. So this is the left side, this is the right side. So everything else on the left side will have to be removed. So the b is out of place. So therefore, we know that we have to undo this b. It doesn't matter what it is. If this is a minus, to undo, you need a plus. So we add b to both sides. Now, symbolically, we cannot combine c plus b, so we just leave it like this. So x is equal to b plus c. And you leave it because you can't do anything with it.
Okay.
So here it's asking us to solve for w, and I'm going to go back through. Simplify. So that means remove parentheses. Fractions. Decimals. Add like terms on the same side. No parentheses, no fractions or decimals, no like terms on the same side. The next step is to isolate the variable you're solving for. Now, they ask us to solve for w. Whatever is connected with w is a part of it. So when I put a circle around w and whatever is with it, nothing else is on this side. See, it's already isolated. The final step is to divide by the coefficient of the variable you're solving for. We're solving for w. The coefficient of w is 2. So we need to divide both sides by 2. So a over 2 is equal to w. Now this is what we call literal equations because we have more than one variable in it.
Okay.
Do we need to see another example with this?
No, this is simple enough.
Okay. It says give the location of Atlanta. Before we do that, we want to talk about the coordinate axis. So as we see, we have the x-axis and we have the y-axis. On the x-axis, we move left or right. If we move left, that's negative. If we move right, that's positive. On the y-axis, we go up or down. When we cross the x and y axis, we have this centerpiece here. That's called the origin. And the coordinates are 0, 0. This is 0 when we move to the right, see those positive numbers. When we move to the left, we have negative numbers, okay? So 1, 2, 3. When we go up, those are positive numbers. When we go down, those are negative numbers. And this is called the first quadrant. To get into the first quadrant, we go right and up. Right is X and up is Y. Since I went right and up, that's positive, positive. X and Y are positive in the first quadrant. First quadrant. X, Y are positive, both positive. This is what we call the second quadrant. In order to get into the second quadrant, I have to go left and then up to get into the second quadrant. Left and then up. So X is negative, Y is positive. Beginning at the origin, this is what we call the third quadrant. To get into the third quadrant, I have to go left and down. I went left, X is negative. I went down, Y is negative. So X and Y are both negative in the third quadrant. To get into the last quadrant, which is called the fourth quadrant, we always begin at the origin. I have to go right and down. Since I went right, X is positive and Y is negative. So those are the signs of X and Y in the different quadrants. Now, we want the location of Atlanta. So here is Atlanta, okay? You always give the X first and the Y second. So Atlanta. Well, this is 5 on the X. So you go right 5 and we have to go down 8. 5, negative 8.
Okay.
So using the information that we just saw, it says use the pencil, plot the point. I thought it would show it to me, but I guess it's not. That's right. On this, it will not show it to me. Let me try something different. Now, it will not be in, let's see. So I'm going to scroll through to kind of get it in some kind of order. And just Okay, so we wanted to plot a point. So let me see, can I find that? Here it is. Plotting a point in the coordinate plane. Okay. Okay. Bear with me, because it will shut you out. Okay, let's go through student view.
Oops.
Okay, so I was at the end. Here we go. So it says to plot the point -5, 2. So we get the pencil. Well, let's see.
So -5, +2.
Right. So x is -5,
Mhm.
and I don't think I'm using my. Okay, there we go. All right, so I go to -5,
Mhm.
and then I need to go up to 2,
Right.
and then I put a point there. Okay.
Yeah.
And questions about that?
No, this part is simple enough. I
Well,
get
the main. Go ahead.
I get confused when, well, I guess maybe I just didn't realize how simple it was, but when it has the line going through and then I have to plot it, like say the points.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're gonna get to that. That's why I wanted to be able to actually show it to you.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So the next one is a table of linear equations. So let me find that. Let me delete that. Here we go. It says fill in the table using this function rule. Well, the rule says whatever x is, multiply it by -3 and then add 4. Okay? So
Mhm.
that's what the rule is. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to say x, and I'm going to make a table, and then y equals -3x plus 4. First, I'm going to let x be -4. So y equals, everywhere x is, I put -4. So y equals negative times a negative is a positive, and then I get 16. That ordered pair is -4, 16.
Mhm.
I let x be -2. Y equals -3 times -2 plus 4. Y equals 6 plus 4, which is 10. -2, 10. X is 0. Y equals -3 times 0 plus 4. -3 times 0 is 0 plus 4 gives me 4. X comes first, 0. Y comes second, 4.
Mhm.
X is 2. Y equals -3 times 2 plus 4. -3 times 2 is -6 plus 4. -6 plus 4 is -2. X comes first, 2, Y comes second, -2. So that would be the ordered pair, and you would just put the Y values in here.
Mhm.
All right, it says identify the solutions to the linear equation. So let me go back. Maybe I went too far. Okay. Did I go past it? Identify? Let me see, can I get this out of the way? Okay, let me go back. Here we go, right here. Identify a solution to a linear equation in 2 variables. And now I need to see, can I? There we go. All right, it says, for each ordered pair, determine whether it is a solution to 4x plus 5y equals -13. Well, the only way to do that is to replace x with what they give you and replace y with what they give you. So we have 4x plus 5y equals -13. All right. X is -7 and y is 4. 4 times -7 is -28. 5 times 4 is 20.
Mhm.
-28 plus 20 is -8. It's supposed to be -13.
So no.
No. Okay. Let's go to B. X is 6 and y is 3. 24 plus 15, 39. No. Let's go to 8, -9. 4 times 8 plus 5 times -9. 4 times 8 gives me 32. 5 times -9 is -45. 32 plus -45 is -13. Yes. Now, a line is not going to cross twice. So if this is a solution, the next one has to be what?
Not a solution.
Not a solution, right? So there's no point in doing that.
Right.
Okay. This is not, this is not, this is, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So now we want to find a solution to a linear equation. We identify a solution, so now we want to find a solution. So let's see. Here we go. It says, find an ordered pair that is a solution to the equation. Okay, so this is how you do this. Two x minus y equals 3. And it's throwing this out. It doesn't tell you what to do, how to do it. It just says find a solution. So this is what you do. You say, all right, if I let x be 0, y equals what? So let's do that. 2 times 0 minus y equals 3. 2 times, now why did I use 0? Because 0 is easy, okay? 2 times 0 is 0 minus y equals 3. Minus y equals 3. Now we don't want to know what minus y is. We want to know what y is. So I need to multiply by -1. Y equals -3. So a solution is 0, -3. Now we can find other solutions. Give me a number.
3.
In 3, you want x to be 3? Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so let's let x be 3. 2x minus y equals 3. 2 times 3 minus 3 equals 3. 6 minus y equals 3. Now notice that we're using our skills of solving an equation. So minus y equals -3. We don't want to know what minus y is. We want to know what y is. So I need to multiply by -1. And so we get y equals 3. So my ordered pair, you said x was 3. And so now y is 3. So you just arbitrarily let x be a number, and then you solve for y.
Okay.
All right. All right, now we're ready to graph a linear equation in y equals mx. And all right, it says graph the line y equals -2x. So what is your strategy? This is what we do. And especially since you're getting started. So you're told to graph the line y equals -2x. What you want to do is make your table. You put x here and y equals -2x here. Now, I always like students to use 5 points. I mean, you don't have to use 5 points. 3 points. The minimum I would use would be 3. You can use 2 because it takes 2 points to determine the line, but then the line is, not very firm. So I like to use 5 points. So 2 negatives, 0, and 2 positives. Like I said before, you don't have to use this many, because actually if you plot this many, your line might just get so wiggly. But let me just go through this so you can see.
Okay.
-2 times -2 gives me 4. So that's negative 2, 4. Y equals negative 2 times negative 1, which is a positive 2. Y equals negative 2 times 0, which is 0. Y equals negative 2 times 1, which is negative 2. Y equals negative 2 times 2, which is negative 4. So theoretically, we have these points, negative 2, 4, negative 1, 2, 0, 0, 1, negative 2, 2, negative 4. So if I were graphing this, I would use one of those negative points and I will use a positive point. Just use two of them. So I will click this. Okay. I will go to negative 2, 4. This is negative 2. This is 4. Make sure. Then I would go to 2, negative 4. Here is 2. And here is negative 4. All right, and then I just need to get my line. Actually, I should have used a line, but I wanted to show you how to graph this. So here is, it says place the first point, and now it wants you to place the second point, and there is your line.
Okay.
Discussion about that.
I don't think so. I mean, I understand how you figured out all the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. It's just what made you decide to use that one?
Use which one?
Uh,
You could have used any one you want. The reason I use negative 2 and 4 and 2, negative 4 is because they were some distance apart, and I wanted to kind of show you,
oh,
you know, the line. I could have used negative 1, 2. It doesn't matter. Let's do another one.
okay.
Let's see. We'll check it, and then we'll see, can we do another one? More practice. Yeah. All right, here's one. Do that for me.
Okay.
Now, when you have fractions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
See, this is 3/2. You want to be strategic. Use numbers that are divisible by 2. Why? Because that denominator is a 2. If your denominator was 3, use a number divisible by 3 so you won't have fractions. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will use 2. If let's talk about this. So making my T table. I'll use a negative number divisible by 2. I'll use negative 2. And so we can just, like I said before, you only need 2 points. So let's use negative 2 and positive 2. How is that?
Okay.
Okay. So y equals negative 2 over 1. Now, where did the 1 come from? I put it there because this is a fraction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So x is negative 2, so I get negative 3. So this ordered pair is negative 2, negative 3. Now I'm going to use 2. Y equals 3/2 times 2 over 1, and I get 3. Now, if you feel confident, you can just go to the line tool and go to that first point, negative 2, negative 3. Be careful. I think this is right here. It is negative 2, negative 3. Put a point there. All right, now let's go to the other point, 2 and positive 3. And that's the line.
Okay.
Questions about that?
No, I think I got it.
Okay. Urissa, do you have a question?
No, I got it. Thank you, Ms. Hawkins.
Okay. All right, so given a line and its equation in slope-intercept form. Let's look at that. Yeah, I'm gonna do this one. Let's see, graphing a line and its equation and slope into. Let's see. Here we go. It says graph the line, and this is in slope-intercept form. Nothing has changed because in order to graph the line, you need some points on the line. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get points on the line, you have to make a table to get you some points. So y equals negative 2x minus 1. So when you first start graphing, you make a table, and then when we get to slope, then we can kind of shortcut things. So in order to graph this, again, you need some points. X, y equals negative 2x minus 1. Again, use a negative number and a positive number. So we'll use x is negative 2. Y equals negative 2 times negative 2 minus 1. Negative times a negative is a positive. So we get 3. Negative 2, 3. Use a positive number, y equals negative 2 times 2 minus 1. A negative times a positive is a negative, and we get negative 5. Again, why am I using negative 2 and 2? It's just arbitrary. They are some distance apart so that you can see the line. You can use any number you want for x and find y. You just need to get 2 of these points, okay?
Okay.
So negative, get your line, and so it's going to fluctuate like this until you pinpoint it. So we got negative 2 and 3. When you get to 3, put a point there. Then we're going to go positive 2 and go down to negative 5. And here is the line. Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's go back to that. I saw the fractional one. Wait a minute, let me. That was integer. All right, so this time we have a fraction. Remember what I said? If it's a fraction, look at that denominator and use numbers that are divisible by that denominator. So we're going to use numbers divisible by 2. So if I let x be negative 2, negative 2 over 1 times negative 1/2 plus 5. A negative times a negative is a positive. 1 plus 5, I get 6. Negative 2, 6. Let x be positive 2. Y equals 2 over 1 times negative 1/2 plus 5. Negative times a positive is a negative 1 plus 5 gives me 4. 2, 4. So I grab the graphing line and I go negative 2, 6. This is negative 2. I go up to 6. Make sure you get there on that. Let the crosshairs be right there. Now I need to go 2, 4. This is 2, and I go up to 4. And that is that line. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, we want to graph a line that's in standard form. So we graph a line in slope-intercept form that was integer and fractional. And now we're going to graph one that's like this. We got a little more work to do this time, but it's the same procedure.
Okay.
So y plus 3x equals negative 3. Now, what I would do, I would solve this for y. And this is why they gave us those beginning exercises at the beginning to solve for those different variables. You remember that?
Yeah.
So solve this for y. So this is y. So if I want to solve this for y, I need to get the 3x off.
Right.
Because you always wanted y equals something. So this is y equals negative 3x minus 3. This is the form that you want in there, y equals. And that way it just makes it easy when you put in x, you can find y.
Mhm.
So now we just make us a table and we do the same thing we did before, put x here and y equals over here. Let's let x again, this is repetition, negative 2. Y equals negative 3 times negative 2 minus 3. Now, negative 2 is not magical. You can let it be, again, any number you want.
Mhm.
But look at your grid. Don't let it be a number bigger than what you have on your grid. Let it be any number that's in this grid so that you can graph it. You can let it be negative 4, negative 6. Now, the problem is when you start letting it be these big numbers, the y value might go off the grid. You see that?
Yeah.
So this is going to be 6 minus 3, and that's going to be 3. So negative 2 and 3. Right. All right, let's let x be positive 2. Y equals negative 3 times positive 2 minus 3. See, this one might be off the grid. Y equals negative 6 minus 3, negative 9.
Oh.
2, negative 9. Now let's see. I think we got one left right there. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're okay. All right, so we get negative 2, go up to 3. Go over to positive 2, go down to negative 9. See how they match?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the line. All right, let's graph vertical or horizontal lines. All right, so graph x equals negative 2. Well, you don't see a y, so y can be anything. And we only need 2 points. So if x is -2, let y be any number that's on this grid. What would you like for it to be?
3.
3. X is -2. Let y be another number. I would recommend a negative number.
-3.
-3, because you just want to keep it balanced.
Mm-hmm.
All right, grab the graphing line, go to -2 and go up to 3. -2, go down to -3. And what kind of line is this? This is a vertical line.
Yeah, I had to think for a second.
So x equals a number gives a vertical line. Let's check it and see if we can get another practice. Let's do this one. All right, it says y equals 7. So that means x can be anything, okay? So what do you want x to be?
1.
Give me another value for x because we need 2 points.
And -2.
-2. All right, grab the line. 1, 7. -2. Oh, I'm in the wrong place, huh? I need to correct that.
Oh yeah, that's 8.
Yeah, that's 8. So 1, here we go, 7. And then we need to go -2, 7. This is a horizontal line.
Mm-hmm.
So y equals a number is a horizontal line. Okay. All right, let's find the x and y intercepts. So first of all, we need to talk about what we mean by x and y intercepts. Okay. So find the x and y intercepts given the graph. So let's talk about x and y intercepts. So we want that's the equation, and we want to do the graph. Okay. There we go. All right, the x-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis. When the graph crosses the x-axis, y equals 0. That's very important. So therefore, this tells us to find the x-intercept, y is 0. And we're going to need that when we get the equation. So the x-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis. When the graph crosses the x-axis, y is 0. Well, if that's the x-intercept, let's talk about the y-intercept. The y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. Okay? Well, when this is the case, when this happens, x equals 0. Okay? So let's take a look at the x-intercept. Well, this is the x-axis right here. The graph crosses the x-axis right here. So that is the x-intercept. So we need to get that ordered pair. Well, x is -2 and y has to be 0. Do you see that?
Yeah.
All right, this is the y-axis. So this is the y-intercept right here. When the graph crosses the y-axis, x is 0, y is 4. Be careful how you write this. X is 0, y is 4. Now we need that because sometimes we don't have the graph. We have the equation and we have to find it. And that's the next thing. Find the x and y intercept given the equation. So this is what you need to know. I might let it stay up there. Let's see. All right, so here it says find the x and y intercept. And so let me, all right, find the x and y intercept, okay? X intercept. Let y be 0 because the x intercept where the graph crosses the x-axis. When this happens, y equals 0. So 4x plus 2y equals -12. I want the x-intercept, so therefore I need to let y be 0.
Mm-hmm.
And then we solve for x. 4x plus 0 equals -12. 4x equals -12. Divide by 4. X equals -3. So the x-intercept is -3, 0. So we'll put -3 here. Now we want to find the y-intercept. And I'm going to just talk it out because my space is small.
Mm-hmm.
So the y-intercept, we can let what be 0?
X.
X. So this is 4 times 0 plus 2y equals -12. 0 plus 2y equals -12. 2y equals -12. Divide by 2. This is why we had to do equations first. Y equals -6. So the y-intercept is -6.
I'm just writing this down.
Okay. Find the X and Y intercepts. All right, they want us to find the X and Y intercepts again. Okay, this one. All right, find the X and Y intercepts. Again, we do the same thing. We have a little more work, but the process is still the same. 8x plus 9y equals negative 10. X intercept, y equals 0. So we have 8x 8x plus 0 equals negative 10. 8x equals negative 10. We solve this equation. We have to divide by 8. X equals negative 10/8, which is negative 5/4. So you would click this, and then you would say negative 5 and then you would put 4 here. Okay. All right, we want to do the y-intercept. To do the y-intercept, x is 0. Okay. 8 times 0 plus 9y equals negative 10. 0 plus 9y equals negative 10. 9y equals negative 10. Again, your skills of solving equations, we need to divide by 9. Y equals negative 10/9. We need to get the fraction symbol. Come down here. And we need negative 10. And then put the cursor in the denominator. And we need to put 9. Negative 10/9. All right, now we're getting ready to do some graphing. We're going to graph a line given its X and Y intercepts. They're going to give them to you. Let's see. Here we go. All right, it says graph the line whose y-intercept is 8, whose x-intercept is 7. Now, to help you out, I will always just make an ordered pair for myself. The y-intercept is 8. That means y is 8, x is 0. The x-intercept is 7, which means y is 0. That's all you need. Get your line, plot your point. All right, 0, 8. X is 0, go up to 8. The x-intercept is 7. We go to 7. And there's our line. Question about that?
No.
All right, we want to, they gave us the X and Y intercept this time. We have to find them and then we have to graph, okay? So we have to find the X and Y intercepts and then graph. All right, so graph by finding the X and Y intercepts. Okay. All right, so we can graph a line. Okay, so we can graph a line by making a t-table. We can graph a line by solving for y. We can graph a line by finding the X and Y intercepts. We can graph a line by using the slope and the Y intercept. All those ways, but they just want you to get a variety of tools. So we want to find the X and Y intercept. So you just have to remember X intercept. Before we just found the X and Y intercepts, now we want to find the X and Y intercepts and use those points to graph. So the X intercept, let Y be 0. (7x plus 0 equals -14). 7x equals -14 divided by 7. X equals -2. So they want you to tell them what the X intercept is. Click there, and let's put your -2. All right. Then we want to find the Y intercept. So let's find the Y intercept. All right, to find the Y intercept, X is equal to 0. 7 times 0 plus 2y equals -14. 0 plus 2y equals -14. 2y equals -14 divided by 2, y equals -7. Come here, and we'll put -7. Now, after you tell Alex what the X and Y intercepts are, they want you to graph, okay? So you get the line tool. So -2, 0, that's what that means, -2, 0, and 0, -7, okay? -2, 0, and let me put it here, so I'm gonna have to erase this. -2, 0, and 0, -7. So let me erase all of this. And we're ready. So let me put the points back. Negative. All right, -2, 0. This is -2, 0. And 0, -7. I think getting a little stuck. Okay, here we go. Okay. And here we go here. So -2, 0, and 0, -7. Okay. All right, so we graph using X and Y intercepts. We found the X and Y intercepts and then graphed. And now it says classify the slopes of lines. And so we want to talk about what we mean by slope. Slope is the rise over the run, the steepness or inclination of a line. It never did go into that, but let's talk about what slope is. Slope is the steepness or inclination of a line, rise over run. So it says, classify slopes given graphs of lines. So let's see. All right, so let's talk about slope. So slope, steepness or inclination of the line. Now it is past 9. If you all have to leave, I understand. I'll just have to continue doing this. Whatever works for you. If you have to leave, no problem. I'll just keep talking, okay? No problem. So slope is the steepness or inclination of the line. Rise over run. And the symbol for slope is M. And then the formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, these subscripts come from your points. Y2 means that's 0.2. The y coordinate of 0.2. Y1 is the y coordinate of 0.1. So steepness or inclination of the line, rise over run, and then the symbol for slope is M, and then this is the formula. Okay, and so what it wants us to do is to tell whether the slope is positive, negative, 0, undefined. Well, now this is a horizontal line, and the slope of a horizontal line is 0. All right, this line, as I move from left to right, falls. So if the slope falls, it has a negative slope. As I move from left to right, this line is going up. So therefore, it has a positive slope. This is a vertical line. This slope is undefined. So let me go back through that again. Okay. This is a horizontal line. A horizontal line has a slope of 0. As I move from left to right, this line falls. If you move from left to right and the line falls, it has a negative slope. As I move from left to right here, the line is going up. So therefore, it has a positive slope. And this is a vertical line, and the slope is undefined. Questions about that? All right. So the slope is steepness, inclination of the line, rise over run, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So now we're going to do some exercises on finding the slope. So we want to find the slope of a graph, find the slope of a line. Okay, so finding the slope on a grid. Okay, all right. So finding the slope when you're given the line, okay? All right, you can do this 2 ways, okay? You can get the ordered pairs of these points because it's highlighted, or you can just use a geometric way to do it. So I'll do it 2 ways, okay? Given the line, find the slope. And the first way is using m equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. And I tell you, I need some space. All right, let's get the ordered pair for this point. That's -4, -2. The ordered pair for this point is 2, -4. Okay? Now, this 2, as I said, is a subscript. It comes from the y of point 2. This comes from the y of point 1. Well, the question is, what's point 1 and what's point 2? It doesn't matter. You just decide which point you want to be point 1 and which point you want to be point 2. Okay? All right, so I'm going to just call this point 1 since I found it first, and then this is point 2. So let's look at point 1. So if this is point 1, this is x sub 1, this is y sub 1. All right, this is point 2. So this is x sub 2, y sub 2. Any questions about that? All right, so now what we want to do is to use our formula to get the slope. So point 1, -4, -2, point 2, 2, -4. We said that this is x1, y1, x2, y2. The formula is y sub 2 minus y sub 1, x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Can you all see me writing on this notepad?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm using a whole lot of stuff here. I mean, because I'm running out of space. All right, so now we want to plug in y sub 2. Let's go to point 2. Y sub 2 is -4. Minus, be careful, minus. Y sub 1 is a -2. This is why you want to be careful. This is minus, and then y sub 2 is a -2. Put parentheses there. Over x sub 2. This is x sub 2. Minus x sub 1. X sub 1 is a -4. You need some parentheses. All right, now we need to simplify this. This is -4 minus a -2, which is -4 plus 2. This is 2 minus a -4. Two negatives come together. Remember, they cancel. So -4 plus 2 is -2. 2 plus 4 gives me 6. So this is -1/3. This slope is negative, and you see that the line falls to the right. Okay? All right, that's using the formula. Now I want to use rise over run. Okay? That's using the formula. So let's use rise over run now. Okay? So if I use rise over run, select any point that you want. It does not matter. Okay? Select any 2 points. We can do it both ways. All right? So I'm going to start with this point. And I'm going to travel to this point right here. Now, I can't go up that line. I have to travel along the grids. Are you with me? I can't travel just going straight up like that. I have to all right, so I want to go from this point to that point, and I have to go along these grids. So I have to go 1, 2. I went up 2, and then I have to go left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's talk about that. I had to go up 2. Up 2, and I went left 6. If you recall, rise over run. Rise is a y value, run is an x value. So you have to put y over x, okay? So for y, we go up or down, and for the run, we go left or right, okay? So it said I went up 2, that's a positive 2. It said I went left 6, that's a negative 6. Then we need to reduce this, negative 1/3. Is that what we got when we did it algebraically? All right, let's reverse ourselves. Let's start here. If I start here, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I go right 6, and then I go 1, 2, down 2. But the formula is always rise over run. I went down 2. That's a negative 2. I went right 6. That's a positive 6. So I still get negative 1/3. It doesn't matter which way you do it, you still get the same thing. We did it algebraically, and then we did it using geometry, and we still got the same thing. Notice when you do it algebraically, you get these stair steps. Any questions about that? Okay. All right, let me select all of this. So we want to find the slope given 2 points on the line. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Finding the slope given 2 points on the line. We're going to do the same thing we did before. This time we're going to use the formula. Slope is equal to y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Now notice when we had the line and we had those points, I could have used geometry to do that, okay? Here, I wouldn't graph this and then get the slope. I would just use the formula. But you can do, you can do whatever. If you want to plot these and then use geometry, you can, but it would be faster to just use the formula. Again, it doesn't matter what, you need to identify what's point 1 and point 2. So I'm going to mix it up this time. I'm going to call this point 2 and call this point 1. If this is point 1, if this is point 2, this is x2, y2, x1, y1. Are you with me? All right, I need to find y2. I need to go to point 2 and find y. That's 3. Y1, I need to go to point 1 and find y. That's 9. X2, I need to go to point 2 and find x. X1, I need to go to point 1 and find x. 3 minus 9 is negative 6. Negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and we get 3/4. So the slope is a positive 3/4. force. Questions about that? All right, so we want to find the slope of horizontal and vertical lines, okay? Find the slope of horizontal and vertical lines, okay? And so the question is, we don't know which ones of these are horizontal and vertical, but we can plot them and see. So you can do it either way. So we found out that horizontal lines and I think this could make your work easy. So with horizontal lines, y is the same in all points, and the slope is 0. So let's see. This must be a horizontal line. And with vertical lines, x is the same, and the slope is undefined. This is just some information that you can keep with you. But let's go through and find these slopes. All right, so I said this is a horizontal line, so -4, 4, 6, 4. This is point 1, this is point 2. You can graph these and take a look at them, and we can do that. So the slope is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Notice that when you write your slope, the subscript should match, and we put y on top, okay? All right, so m equals y2, y1, x2, x1. Anytime you have a negative, put parentheses. 0 over 6 plus 4, 0 over 10 equals 0. So the slope is 0, so this is a horizontal line. All right, let's do this one. The point is -5, 9, -5, -4. Let's call this point 2, point 1, so that you can see it does not matter. M equals, always write your formula down before you put your numbers in. It just helps. Okay. All right, so y2 is going to be 9. Y1 is going to be -4. X2 is -5. X1 is -5. So we get (9 plus 4 over -5 plus 5), 13 over 0, which is undefined. Now let's plot these so that you see what they look like. And so we got -4, 4, and then we got 6, 4. So you can have this horizontal line. negative 5, 9. Go up here. And then negative 5, negative 4. And you get a vertical line. Okay. All right. So let's see. Graph a line given the slope and the y-intercept. Right there. All right. So now we're going to use rise over run. Slope is negative 3. Y-intercept is negative 2. When you have the slope, you need to write it as two numbers, negative 3 over 1. Put a 1 under there. And then the y-intercept is 0, negative 2. And when I finish this one, Urissa, I'm going to stop because the video will be too long if I continue, okay?
Okay, that's fine.
And then I'll just have to do another video with the remaining of these because it'll be too long for you all to watch. All right, so I go to my point. This is your point. Always go to that point. The point is 0, negative 2. So it is right here. And my slope is negative 3. This is rise, and then this is run. So you want to write that slope two ways, negative over positive and a positive over a negative, okay? So go to your point. Let's use this form of the slope. So if this is a negative, that means that I need to go down. So I need to go down 3. 1, 2, 3, and then I need to go to the right 1. Okay? All right. Go back to this point and use this form of the slope. Go up 3, 1, 2, 3, go left 1. Now, the reason I'm going to keep using this point is because I got more space up here. When I move my screen, I lose my point. So from this point, I'm going to do that again. Go up 3, 1, 2, 3, left 1. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, to the left 1. So that's my line. Okay? So I'm going to take my line tool, and it says place the first point. Well, let me see if okay, it won't let me. Oh yeah, wait a minute. I'm gonna move this up and I'm gonna, okay. All right, so I'm moving this up so that I can graph this. I think my point was 0, negative 2. And I think that's what it wants me to do. So 0, negative 2, and then I'm gonna go up 3, 1, 2, 3, to the left 1. Put a point here. 1, 2, 3, to the left 1. Okay. I'm gonna grab my line tool and I'm gonna go to that point. And then I'm gonna move this line tool until it goes through these points. And there is the graph. Okay. That's what it wanted. So what we need to do then is to write this information down, write our points down, and then use the line tool to plot the points. Okay. All right, so I'm going to end the session for tonight, and I thank you so much for staying this long with me. And I will finish these other problems Because wow, an hour and a half. Okay. Thank you so much and have a good night.